sorry for the glaring light, but I brought in another light because I thought it's kind of dark. It's raining and dismal, and at least now you can see what I am showing you, hopefully. Welcome to the Knits and Beads podcast. I'm your host, Lori Erdo. I live in upstate New York, and I work full-time as a jewelry designer who knits in her free time. So this is my kind of knitting, crafting, sewing, jewelry, business related podcast. And it's been about, I don't know, 9 days since my last podcast. I don't really know exactly. I believe today is August 18th, if I'm thinking correctly. Not sure. But anyway, I thought I would do a short episode and let you all know what I'm working on these days. So let's first talk about knitting. I have one finished object, and I am wearing it, and I will try to insert some pictures here for you to see. This is my Venta. It's a shrug by Wang, and I used a beautiful Madeline Tosh sock yarn in the Flycatcher blue colorway, and I love how this turned out. It's really super comfortable to wear. It's a little awkward because it's a shrug, and I'm not used to wearing that kind of a garment. But I really love it, and I had a pretty good time knitting it. There was a little bit of snafu in the lace pattern that's on the back. Just flubbed up some stuff there in the center, but I just kept going because I had kind of a meltdown earlier on in the pattern where I had to rip back and get all of the stitches back on my circular needle. It was a nightmare. And so when I got to this point where I was messing up the lace, I was like, you know what, it doesn't matter, it's not worth it to rip back. It's too stressful. I knew I would just frog it at that point, so I just pushed on through, and really you can't even tell that it's got any issues. So when I got done knitting it and seaming it all together and did all of this ribbing, which is about an inch of ribbing or so, you were supposed to do ribbing along the sleeves, and you know what, I was done. I was just done, not because I wasn't enjoying the process, but because I just felt like I really wanted the garment to be done, and I don't feel like ribbing on the sleeves would have made that big of a difference, so I just left them the way they are. It wouldn't have really added too much length on the sleeves anyway. Like I said before in previous episodes, I was worried about how it was going to fit me. Clearly the arm length is not as long as I want it to be, because the pictures on the pattern on the Ravelry page show the shrug on the model, and the sleeves go all the way down to the wrists, which is one of the reasons why I liked it. But it's alright, you know, I don't mind 3/4 length sleeves or whatever, it's fine. Love the color. I love it with this dress, actually, pretty happy with that. And yeah, so I recommend the pattern. If you want to know more details about my experience knitting this pattern, it is up on my Ravelry page. You can find me on Ravelry under Lorelei Erdo. That is the only finished object I have this week. When I got done, there was a few days there where I wasn't sure what I wanted to work on next. So I'll transitioning now into the whips section of the podcast. So works in progress. You know, it always takes me a really long time to pick another project to do. So two things that I am going to try to do for a little while is not buy new yarn, use what I have in stash, and a perfect opportunity for me to knit something that I had been wanting to knit for a very long time is Stacy of Stress Knits is hosting a knit along right now called Just Knit It, where you basically knit something that you had always wanted to knit, or maybe a new technique you've been kind of putting off, or whatever the case may be. So I dug back into my binder. I used to keep all my patterns in this beautiful binder, and haven't done that in a while. But I found this pattern for the Campside shawl. And I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this pattern. It's been around a while, and I know a lot of people have already knit it. It's kind of like the rite of passage of knitters, I think. Everybody's kind of knit this Campside shawl. It's a free pattern, that's probably a lot of the reason why. And I don't know if I have a picture of it. Let me see. This pattern is by Alicia Plummer. Here is the picture. It's black and white because I was saving on some ink, but it's just a really gorgeous shawl with an eyelet pattern and some ribbing on the edging. It's a triangular shawl, and it looks like really big and toasty and warm and cozy, and right now I just want to knit all the cozy things because I am sick to death of the heat, and you would think that that would make me not want to knit heavy gauge projects, but it doesn't. It's the opposite, and I can't wait for fall. So another reason why, all right, let me just back up. So I printed this out a long time ago. Like, I'm talking at least a year ago. It was one of the very first projects that I had ever, you know, kind of added to my Ravelry favorites list. And I went ahead and printed the project out, and as soon as I realized that it's like literally 9 pages long with like charts and charts and charts and more charts, I got really scared, and I put holes in it and I put it right in my binder, and I forgot all about it until this week when Stacy was talking about, or last week when Stacy was talking about this knit along. So I dug it out, and it calls for DK weight yarn. So I looked in my stash and realized that I had bought this Knitpicks Swish DK many months ago during a big sale that they had, and I never did anything with it, and it's still in the plastic and everything. I ordered 10 skeins of this. They're about, they're 50-gram balls. So I got 10 skeins just because I thought it'd be nice to just have it on hand in case I had like a big project I eventually wanted to do. I don't need this much for the shawl, but at least I have it. So this is the Dove color way. Lonesome Dove. No, it's just Dove. Dove Heather. And it's really nice. It's a superwash merino wool. This is 123 yards, so I am guessing I'm going to need about 7 balls, possibly 6 or 7 is what I'm thinking. So I went ahead and cast on, and I started knitting and knitting and knitting, and I followed the instructions, and I'm thinking, this doesn't look very big, you know, because I had gone through like 3-4 repeats, and I was thinking, something's not right. This isn't that big. Like, if I'm already 4 repeats in, there can't be that much left to do. And then I realized what I had done wrong. I had basically not read the instructions correctly when it said to work the charts until you have a certain number of stitches on the needles. So I only did the charts once, and then that's why it was too small. So I had a little bit of a hissy fit, and I ripped it all out, and I set it aside, and I didn't knit for 2 days. And then I picked it back up, and I said to myself, do I really want this shawl? Yes. So I recast on, and here is where I'm at so far. Not too far, but I have just started the second repeat. So, as you can imagine, this is about how big it was. When I had already done 3 or 4 repeats, it was only this big. And I'm like, that's not right. So, literally, like, the eyelets, they kind of are sparse, and then they get heavier and heavier and heavier as you go down. So, it was really just like 3 rows of this spacing, and then it went to the next spacing, and then it went to the next spacing. And I was like, something's not right here. I'm knitting this with my Chiagoo red lace size 7 needles. I love these needles so much. I haven't knit with my metal needles in a long time. I've been knitting with the bamboo for a long time, or wood, because my interchangeable set is Knitter's Pride Symphony rosewood needles. So these are a nice change. I like them, and the pattern is going really, really nicely. I actually really love how this is knitting. It's going to be really nice and cozy. I just wonder how the drape will be, because it's pretty stiff, so hopefully when it blocks out it'll be nicer and kind of drapier. We'll see how it goes, but I'm enjoying it. I'm going to just keep on going. And it's actually knitting up fairly quickly, so I think it'll be okay. And I'm just keeping this in one of my bags. This is from, I believe, the Knitpicks website. This is a Danica Studios bag, and I got my little matching notions pouch in here. Little moths. I'm a big moth fan. So that's work in progress number 1. And as I was working on it, I was thinking, you know, this is kind of, it gets monotonous. I mean, it's good TV knitting, but I almost feel like I need something that requires a little bit more brain power, or a little bit more attention to be kept, my attention to be kept. So I thought I would go ahead and cast on another project. And so I did. I cast on another shawl because I'm just a really big fan of slip stitches. So that's what I did the search on Ravelry. I searched for shawls, I believe, and I searched for fingering weight. I wanted something that was like at least 2 colors with slip stitches or texture of some sort. So I found a great project. This is called the Isabelita by Casapinka. And this doesn't really give you a good idea. The stitches are really, really beautiful though. It just has a really kind of neat texture to it. And I went ahead and cast on last night. So I have a little bit done so far, not too much though. Not too much to show you here. You can see better pictures if you follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Lorelei Erdo. Posted a picture of it, but this is all I've got done so far. I'm using this Sweet Georgia yarns. This is the Bulletproof sock that I got in the Fiberista Club a couple months ago. And it's the Bison colorway, so it's kind of like a purpley gray. It's probably not coming up very well on the video here, but that's my main color. And then my accent color is this gorgeousness. This is from Hedgerow yarns out of the UK. Highly recommend you go to her shop right now and buy some of her yarn. It's beautiful. This happens to be the Merino silk sock. So it's a fingering weight, and the colorway is Treasure Chest. And it's just one of those like really luxurious yarns, and I only bought 1 skein, and I didn't really think I was going to ever use it. And then I thought, you know, it's not doing me any good sitting where I can't even see it. So I just really wanted to knit with it. So I wound it up and that is my accent color. Now, the problem with this pattern is that the colors I chose are just really similar in tone. So there's not a whole lot of difference between the two. And I hope you can get a good idea. So, I mean, what's going to happen is the main color is going to be the majority of the body of the shawl, with some just really small slip stitched rows of the accent color, but then the edging all along the bottom is going to be a couple of inches of just my accent color. So that'll be beautiful, I think. I'm really excited, and I'm really enjoying this pattern a lot. I just love slip stitches. I don't know, something about them. They're just so easy. And another thing I really love about this pattern is that I don't have to deal with markers. I don't know about you, but I get so bogged down with like slipping the marker, moving the marker, slipping the marker, slipping the marker. It's aggravating. I just don't like working with markers at all. And this doesn't have any, and I'm very happy about that. So that might sound silly and whatever, but it's just one more thing I gotta fiddle with when I'm knitting, so I just really don't like it. So I'll be anxious to see how this turns out as it grows and grows a little bit bigger. I'm just testing out one of these bags. This bag is for sale in my web store. I just love the size of it. It just fits everything, and it's actually a little too big for my project, but it'll grow. Oh, here's the labels for the Sweet Georgia. I don't even know if you can see that or read it. Who knows? Hedgerow yarns. I'll show you my new little tags I got recently for my sewn things. I've used these little tags before for my jewelry, but I kind of really like them for my sewn stuff. So this is handmade by Lorelei. It's a little burned wood tag, and I just attached it to the zipper with a jump ring. So yeah, if you want to buy this bag, it's in my web store. It's LorelaiUrdo.com. So this keeps slipping down. Sorry. That's annoying. That'll lead me into the sewing section. I don't really have too much to show via sewing. I did that bag with the green, and I did another bag that I actually am swapping with one of my bead making friends. So I sent that out to her already. I don't have it to show you. Maybe I'll try to insert a picture here so you can see it. These are both fabrics that I got recently on a trip to Burlington, Vermont, and went to that really cute fabric and yarn store called Nido. And then I made another jewelry roll. So this is the most recent jewelry roll that I have listed in my store. Fun, right? Polka dots! This is also a fabric I recently got at that shop, Nido, and it was in a bundle of fat quarters from Cotton and Steel, I believe. I paired it with some teal polka dot material from Joann's. And this is also from Nido. This is also Cotton and Steel. It's like a mint green, and it's got little white circles and a diamond pattern. So you've seen these before, I'm sure, but I just thought I would show this one. I got loops for your necklaces, pockets down below to protect pendants on your pieces. This is the earring trim with little holes, and then pockets for longer earrings. These This trim is great for stud earrings. And then the zipper pocket, I used a brass zipper from zipit.etsy.com. And you can put all kinds of cool things in there. I got my little tag on there. And then the elastics to kind of keep it all together. So once it's rolled up, these just slip over the ends. Voila! Jewelry roll. These are so fun to make. I'm still working on kind of streamlining the process a little bit so that it don't take so long to make, because it takes me a good 2.5 hours to make one. So I usually only make one at a time. And I'm hoping to have a few made for the first show I'm doing of the season, which is September 17th and 18th. I'll be in Sharon Springs, New York at the Harvest Festival. I usually do an outdoor tent booth there. I've been doing it for several years now. It's my best show that I ever do, and sometimes I even get to glimpse the Beekman boys who live in Sharon Springs, and they won the Amazing Race a couple of years ago. You might remember them. They own a goat farm and operate the 1802 store, Beekman 1802. Is that what it is? I forget. You can just Google Beekman Boys and you'll find their online web store. They have a beautiful shop in Sharon Springs too, which I never get to go to because I'm too busy working my booth. Maybe I can get some help this year so I can kind of take off and take a little break and check it out. But as far as I know, they've even started doing a furniture line. They have all kinds of things going on. But anyway, I'm hoping to have a couple of these for sale at my show. So let's see, what else do I have to talk about business-wise? I did want to mention how funny social media is. When I think back when I started making jewelry about 10 years ago, you know, social media was getting bigger. Facebook, I started using Facebook a lot for my business after a couple of years, and that's grown, and now we have Instagram, and it's like, sometimes I feel like, why do I bother like keeping an online shop? Because I feel like sometimes business is better just on social media. Like, for example, yesterday I went upstairs, I made a bracelet, I came down, I photographed it, I threw the picture up on Facebook and then Instagram, and within 10 minutes I had sold the bracelet directly from Instagram. I went upstairs, I made another bracelet, I came down, I repeated the process, and sure enough, after 15-20 minutes, someone on Facebook wanted to buy the bracelet. 3 times this happened yesterday. And literally my business has been like pretty slow the last couple of weeks. So it's really weird how it works that way. It's like just sometimes it's feast or famine, always. And that gets kind of exhausting after a while, I have to admit. I just want it to be consistent, and it just hasn't been that way in a really long time, and that has a lot to do with the economy, I'm sure. But anyway, I'm taking it day by day, and we'll just see what happens. But there have been days lately where I've actually been thinking about going back to work outside the home just for my sanity and to help me financially, obviously. So then I start thinking about what I would want to do part-time outside the house, and I don't really know what that would be. So who knows? Who knows? But anyway, I'm just going to work in the studio each day and see what happens. I'm building up my stock because I recently sent a bunch of stuff to a gift kind of handmade gallery in Michigan, and then I also have a bunch of my jewelry at the museum here in Utica, New York, where I used to work. They have a nice little gift shop there. And my stock is really very small, so I really have to get busy making things for my show coming up next month. And also, you know, keep stocking my Etsy store and my web store as I can. And so that's where we're at business-wise. So it's been super duper hot here. I'm hoping it cools off. I'm all set with summer. All set. Ready for fall. As far as upcoming knitting projects, I don't have anything on the docket at the moment, but I do want to start a sweater soon. And I just have to pick a pattern, which is very difficult when there are so many awesome patterns out there. And then buy a sweater's quantity worth of yarn. So that definitely is going to require some saving of the pennies, because I'm kind of a larger person, so it's going to be at least 1,200 yards of yarn. And I don't want to buy cheap yarn. That's the thing. I like the really nice stuff. If I could ever afford to buy enough yarn to create a sweater with Yoth yarn or Madeline Tosh, that would be amazing. So I'm saving my pennies, and hopefully I can come up with something soon to show you. Because I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to finally try a sweater. I know this, you know, didn't require much, but it did require seaming, which I was pretty proud of my seaming on this shrug. I did mattress stitching for the first time, and it turned out great. And I love the way this feels, this fingering weight yarn. It's beautiful. My hair is so wet. Oh, I don't know. It's dripping. I don't know why. Thought I had dried it good, but I guess not. So sorry. Alright, I guess I'm done. So, nice hanging out with you guys. Thank you. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and hanging out with me for the last 30 minutes. And if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for stopping in and checking me out. I hope you end up coming back and watching future episodes. I will catch you guys on the flip side.